As the report mentioned, it was kind of this tinderbox waiting to explode, and quite frankly, folks, these young people who have no access to quality education, healthcare, and all the other myriad issues we're talking about, they have no other outlet. And here, that's where we end up with where we are
Reverend
now.
Al, do you think that the racial makeup of the police department in Ferguson had something to do with the problems that we've seen there?
Absolutely, because I think you don't have a lot of the police department that understands the type of culture, the environment that they're working in.
Exactly.
But I think it's very important, as we said last hour, we don't know where these gunshots came from.
No, we don't.
Yeah, they came from Mars, Reverend Al. They were actually talking about these, the makeup of the police department in the context of talking about the shootings of the two police officers, which I think is outrageous. Anyway, joining us right now is Jillian Kay Melchior. She's a fellow for the Franklin Center and Independent Women's Forum, and a writer, of course, for National Review. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
All right, we put Al Sharpton up there and annoyed everybody because you've written a great piece. This is a follow-up. It's a series you've been doing and getting to the bottom of this man. And you've come up with just amazing stories. Al Sharpton's headquarters had fires in 1997 and 2003, fires that destroyed vital records when it comes to his finances.
Correct.
So explain, how did this all come about? Where are we with these fires?
Well, so I wanted to look into the story because he is a public figure, and I think the U.S. does really need a civil rights leader right now, but it needs one with unimpeachable character. And I'm not convinced Sharpton's that man. So as I was looking into it, he ran for mayor in 1997, and in 2003 he ran for U.S. president, and both times fires hit his offices. Now with the 1997 fire, from the start, it was investigated as an arson/explosion case. But with the 2003 fire, it was billed as an accidental electrical fire, but my investigation suggests, there may be more to the story.
And what did you uncover?
So a couple different things. First of all, I want to talk about the investigation into it. And so there was a very experienced fire marshal who showed up at the scene, one of the best in the business. Yet he was inexplicably dismissed from the site, taken off the job.
And this is the second fire?
Second fire,
okay.
2003
so
fire.
2003, the Mayor Giuliani was the mayor at that point, I think.
I believe so.
Yeah.
So 2003 fire, this guy's taken off.
Or Bloomberg, either one.
I actually think it was Bloomberg.
Okay, Bloomberg, yeah.
So taken off, and then on top of that, there are 38 photos and a 6-page incident report. Now that might be normal for any old fire in New York, but this is one involving a person of prominence who's running for U.S. president.
Yeah.
And so that seems just like a little bit of a slim folder for me on that. So that's the investigation in and of itself. But then you start looking at what is in that investigative report, and a couple things stick out. First of all, there's this guy, J.D. Livingston. Now, two sources who are close to Sharpton at the time tell me that J.D. Livingston was living in the country illegally, a fact which Immigration and Customs Enforcement confirmed to me. And they also alleged that he was being paid under the table by Sharpton and living in the National Action Network office. Now, Sharpton denies this. But, if that is true, he's somebody who's pretty dependent on Sharpton. So this guy says that he discovers the fire, shows up in the morning, goes back and forth through the reception area, and then, basically catches the fire as it starts, calls 911. Yet, according to the report, when the firefighters get there, this fire has grown out of control. It is huge. And it's not what I hear normal fire behavior. It's not, if a fire just started in your office and the firefighters, it's not going to spread that far.
It's as if there was an accelerant.
Sure.
Did they find an accelerant?
They did. I'm not sure about that, but I will say when J.D. Livingston was talking to fire investigators, this is the other thing that struck me as kind of strange. Al Sharpton's lawyer, right there with him. So, I think that raises questions. That's not normally how an investigation into an accidental fire goes.
And what was destroyed in that fire, and why is it relevant?
So in both fires, financial records were destroyed, he said. And that's important because, he missed a lot of tax deadlines, also missed campaign filing deadlines. And it just raises a lot of questions. So with the 1997 fire, some of those papers weren't filed until after the election, which I think is notable. With the IRS, it was auditing him during about the 2003-2004 race. He said, I can't give some of this stuff to you because it was destroyed in the fire. And again, you see this being used as an explanation for why he can't provide things everyone else has to provide.
Well, I mean, 2003. We're now the 12 years out. I don't know what statute of limitations. If there was a crime committed, if that's come and gone. Certainly, 1997. You would think has been reached. Is there an investigation to reopen? Is anybody else? Looking into this?
I think somebody should. I don't know if anybody is. I mean, it is totally possible that this guy was just unlucky twice. Then again, that would be a pretty big coincidence. Yeah. So we just don't know.
And the first fire occurred 5 days before tax day.
That's correct.
That's very convenient. But and the fact that he still has the tax problems, which you've written about in the past, and he's still at the White House, still walks around, still has his TV show, his radio show, and suffers no ill effects of owing all this money, allegedly, reportedly, whatever. I don't know how he does it, but keep it up.
Thank you.
Somebody will take notice, and in the right place in law enforcement, hopefully, maybe in a new administration. When we come back, former House Majority Leader Tom DeLay, without delay, don't go away.